forget, 2 weeks from now, we are having our community caroling. That is at 3 p.m. And we're just going to be caroling around here to people in the community in town. And then also after that, immediately following that, we will have like finger food fellowship and hot chocolate and coffee and drinks and stuff like that. So bring in a small dish to pass of just cookies or little sandwiches or finger food. Yes, for that. And be praying that that goes well, that we're able to put some seed in a very dark world and be a light in a very dark world. Yes. Yeah, I know my wife talked to Sue Allen about that. I'm not sure where we are, so we will. I'll get back with you probably next week on that one. Because she was usually like Sue Allen did before, call like a lot of the leadership out their wives, and they would make cookies. So I'm not sure. I haven't heard exactly. I can ask my wife tonight too when I get home exactly where they are on that, and keep everybody posted. The other cookies are just for here, but yes, we will be giving them a plate of cookies too, which I will get back to you on that also. Let's open in a word of prayer. Dear God, thank you for this night that we could all come together and look at your word and just praise you as we're in the Christmas season now, and just be thankful so much that you sent your son to save us from our sin. And please just pray with this caroling that's coming up that we might be able to plant some seed in some of these homes as we sing to them and just share your love with them. Amen.
Well, good wet sunny evening to you all. At least it's not 2 feet of snow. So, I'm good. Amen. God never moves without purpose or plan when trying to serve.
Well, thank you, Mark. Mark really enjoyed those. It's interesting to me how the brain works. I'm sitting there, we start singing or rejoice in the Lord, and my brain is standing in the Philippines with the mission team that I went in 97 because, like, one of the grand total of 2 times in my entire life I have sung in front of, like, for public purposes was in the Philippines with the mission team there, and that was the song we sang. And it was like, wow, I can hear the trombone playing beside me. It was just, I don't know, amazing how your mind does things with music and attaches memories to it. All right, I tell you what. Nah, I won't make them. All right, Sam and Zach, I'll let you guys pass them out. I thought about making Isaiah and Caleb do it, but they looked kind of comfortable. I didn't want to make them work hard. Save me one. There you go. All right. So, let's see. All right, I'm going to start with my piece of candy. Now, I warn you, I got 1 cough drop in. That means I've got a second one up here. You give me a really sarcastic answer, you just might get a cough drop instead of a piece of candy, okay? Just warning, it's right here with the candy. Be prepared. All right. So, all right. What is the name of the missionary we have been following? Maisie. Paul. And who is Paul's partner so far? Elijah? Barnabas. Who was Paul's partner that has already given up and gone home? Sam? John Mark. All right. We got Paul, Barnabas, John. Okay. I did not ask a question. Oh, for passing out the thing. Okay. Here you go, guys. 1 for each of you. Almost worked, too. Okay. All right. So we've got John Paul. We've got Paul. We got Barnabas. What was the name of the church, or where was the church located that sent out Paul and Barnabas? Haley. No, you're right. I picked the one Bender name that's not here. What in the world? Okay, so now I have to actually think. I was trying to pull a name off the top of my head. So that's Caitlin. That's Elena. Elena. What was the name of the church? Or what city was it in? Antioch. Yay. Whoa, and I went way over your head. I'm sorry. All right. All right, Noah, be nice. Give the candy. They can't find it. Oh, well. Okay. All right. I will try and walk that direction and improve my aim. All right. So they were sent out from the church in Antioch. Now, Antioch in Syria. They go, they move over to the island of Cyprus. They run through some stuff over there. They end up in another Antioch. Antioch of Pisidia, there you go. That's how you say that. There we go. We'll work with that. Did you say that, Zach? Oh, Sam. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyhow, so they end up Antioch and Pisidia. Now, while they were there, Paul and Barnabas together face their first serious persecution together. Now, Paul, we know, had already faced persecution in Jerusalem and Damascus, all kinds of places. Paul's already dealt with this, but it's the first time he's dealt with it with Barnabas. And so at the end of the last one, they leave and they head for another town. We're going to pick up in that town in a minute, but first, what are the 4 elements of the gospel that Paul preached when we looked through his message there at Antioch? Wow, come on. This is why you guys are going to hear this until you can't handle it. Noah? Yeah, I was afraid of that. Okay. Isaac in the back. First one. Give me one of them. No? Death. Burial. Resurrection. Wait, we've got death. We got burial. Who said resurrection first? No, Moses. The second coming. Death, burial, and resurrection. Why? She got it first. I was waiting to see if you got it. I'd give it to you too. Death, burial, and resurrection for the forgiveness of sins, for salvation, for repentance. The death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ for the forgiveness of sins. This is the gospel message that Paul preached. And he preached it over and over and over again. He explained different parts of it. He expounded on it. But this is what Paul was teaching. It is the one message Paul took to non-believers. He did not go into town and try and right all of the social ills. He went into town and taught them about Jesus. Once they were saved and the church was being established, he would teach them in how to conduct themselves as a church and the commands to the church and things like that. But his one message to people who weren't saved was the gospel. All right, now, let's pick up Acts chapter 14. Acts chapter 14, starting in verse 1. Now, let's see, I got to get 1 and 2. Now, at Iconium, they entered together into the Jewish synagogue and spoke in such a way that a great number of both Jews and Greeks believed. But the unbelieving Jews stirred up the Gentiles and poisoned their minds against the brothers. Now, where do they start out preaching? Okay, wait. That's Sophia then. Yeah, Sophia. Okay, that's the city. They're in Iconium. When they get to Iconium, where do they go to start preaching? Mysia. The synagogue. Good job, little lady. I'll go a little easier on you. All right. They go to the synagogue. Wait a second. Does anybody find this odd? And why? David? Okay, they did just get kicked out of the last one. And when they got kicked out of the last one, they said, okay, we'll take the gospel to the Gentiles now. But it was still Paul's pattern. When he went into a city, he would start with the Jews and teaching them first. Now, at this one, it says that, wait, is that a question I already put in here? Yes. Who hears them when they go into the synagogue and start teaching? Mo? What? Gentiles, Greeks. Jews and non-Jews both heard them in the synagogue. And when they hear them, they are understanding, they're turning, they're repenting, and they are believing in Jesus. Now, who begins the resistance against Paul and Barnabas? All right, Sophia, another chance. The Jews. Can you be specific about which kind of Jews? The ones that didn't believe, the bad guy Jews. We can call them the bad guy Jews, okay? So the bad Jews, the Jews who refuse to believe, start stirring up problems, it says. It says they poisoned their minds against the brothers. All right, let's pick them in verse 3. So, they remained for a long time, speaking boldly for the Lord, who bore witness to the word of his grace, granting signs and wonders to be done by their hands. But the people of the city were divided. Some sided with the Jews, some with the apostles. Does that sound funny to you? Let me read verse 2 followed by verse 3, because we kind of put a break there. I want to see if you can catch this, okay? The unbelieving Jews stirred up the Gentiles and poisoned their minds against the brothers, so they remained for a long time. Isn't that fascinating? They go to town. They start preaching. Some people believe. Then the crowd starts stirring everyone up against them. And it says, so they stayed for a long time. Why would they stay? This is more of a deeper question. Zach? Sorry, buddy. Say it again. Yes, they're trying to convince them. Because at this point, it just says they poisoned their minds. There has been no, as of verse 4, there's no attack. There's no running them out of town. There's just, honestly, unfriendly debate. And so Paul and Barnabas have stayed, and instead of things, you're not going to like a balloon around the room or anything. Okay, sorry. I did hose looked like it was coming unattached or something. I was afraid she's going to like a balloon go around her. Okay, never mind. Jeff's distracted. Okay, so they were not facing persecution at this point. Okay? They were just, people were disagreeing. People were not listening. So it says they stayed and put the effort into helping these people. Now, David said, I said, what's weird about this? He's like, they went to another town and preached. Because they'd just been persecuted in the previous town. Now they're back, and what do? They go straight into town and they start preaching again. Just because the first person doesn't hear it and doesn't listen doesn't mean we quit. Maybe if there is a need and persecution arises and they get violent about it, okay, fine. Shake the dust off like they did. They shook the dust off their feet and left. But they went to the next place and they started preaching the gospel right away. All right, now, let's pick up. They didn't leave. Okay. Verse 5. Let's pick up in verse 5. When an attempt was made by both Gentiles and Jews with their rulers to mistreat them and to stone them, they learned of it, fled to Lystra and Derbe, cities of Lycaonia, and to the surrounding country, and there they continued to preach the gospel. All right, so what do the people eventually try to do? Silas? No, the people that are hearing Paul and Silas preach the gospel, what do they eventually try and do? He's not getting any help from his mom, so he's out of luck. All right, I'll go with David. Stone them. They actually they make a plan with their rulers, with the political powers that be. They make a plan to stone Paul and Barnabas. Now, let's see. So what do Paul and Barnabas do when they hear about it? Mr. Charlie's got it. We'll see if anybody back there can get it. Kid in the blue shirt in the back. I can't remember your name. Jacob. What do? They ran away. Good job, Jacob. Candy's coming over Mr. Myron's head. Maybe. There we go. All right, he's a brave man. He didn't duck or anything. All right. So, yes, they say, okay, fine. You're going to stone us. We'll leave. So, again, they've been run out of town under threat for their life. What do they do when they get to the new city? Misa? Evangelize. Very good. They again teach the gospel. Very good, young lady. All right. Again, they just keep going back. They just keep serving over and over again. All right. What are they doing to get the new cities? I already covered that. All right. Moving on down. Verse 8. So they go on down to Lystra. All right. Now, at Lystra, there was a man sitting who could not use his feet. And he was crippled from birth and had never walked. He listened to Paul speaking, and Paul, looking intently at him and seeing that he had faith to be made well, said in a loud voice, "Stand upright on your feet." And he sprang up and began walking. What is wrong with this guy we just read about, Caleb? He's crippled. He's lame. Can't walk. He could feel it. Misa, I was going to make you answer the last one because you didn't raise your hand, but Misa got it. And I was like, okay, I'm going for him the next time. And he raises his hand. Wow. Kid's listening. All right. So this guy's crippled. Can't walk. In fact, hasn't been able to walk since the day he was born. Okay? He's not like Mephibosheth. Anybody remember Mephibosheth? What happened to Mephibosheth? He got dropped as a baby. And unlike me, he was dropped on his feet, not his head. Anyhow, all right. Had nothing to do with where we're at. Let's keep moving. Okay. What did this man have that allowed Paul to heal him? Elijah. Faith. He had faith. It says Paul is looking at him intently, and I don't know. He just saw it. He could see this guy's got faith. This guy, we shift that. We'll shift that. This guy's got faith, okay? He can see that this guy truly believes, and so he tells him, "Get up, let's go, man." And he gets up. Imagine. Sometimes I think about some of these miracles that Jesus and some of the apostles did, and I can't imagine what it would have been like. Crippled from birth, he's never been able to walk, and now he can. Simply by the power of Jesus. Not the power of Paul, but the power of Jesus. Now, let's keep going. So Paul heals the guy. Let's pick up in verse 11 and find out what happens. And when the crowd saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in Lycaonian, "The gods have come down to us in the likeness of men." Barnabas they called Zeus, and Paul Hermes, because he was the chief speaker. And the priests of Zeus, whose temple was at the entrance of the city, brought oxen and garlands to the gates and wanted to offer sacrifice with the crowds. When the people saw the miracle, they saw the guy healed, he's up, he's walking around. Who did they think Paul and Barnabas were? You get to pick one. You don't have to give me both. Which one? Mimi. They thought they were the gods. Fantastic. Now, who can give me names? They thought, let's see, Sophia? Zeus? Who was Zeus? No. I'll give you one for Zeus. All right, Noah? No, who did they think was Zeus? Silas. Barnabas. They thought Barnabas was Zeus, and they thought Paul was Hermes, because Hermes was the chief speaker. My Greek mythology is a little weak. Apparently Hermes was a verbose god. I don't know. Anyhow, so, all right. What do the people want to do for Paul and Barnabas? Jacob. Huh? Lost the answer. Okay, that's good. That's okay. Maisie? Worship them. I like the way you summed it up. You did a good job summing it up there. They wanted to bring sacrifices and offer sacrifices to them, which is, as Maisie summed up, it is an act of worship. They wanted to ascribe the power for that miracle to Paul and Barnabas, not God. They said, you guys are gods. So this is a turn, right? This is different. I mean, the last town they were trying to stone him, right? Now, they're trying to worship him. Is this better than persecution? Probably won't be candy because we're going to have to see what the opposing sides here. David, is this better than persecution? You think it's worse? All right. Do you think they should let it go? No? No. Mr. Charlie agrees with you. Silas? Is this better or worse than persecution? Worse. All right. Silas goes worse. Now, come on, guys. Think about it. People are hearing the message. Okay. It's still wrong. Okay. So we're hearing the message because that's a possibility. I mean, people are actually hearing. They're not throwing rocks at you. So you have a chance to talk. But, Mr. Jacob, what do you think? No. All right. No. Sam? Okay. All right. We got to stop it. Do you think, I don't know, what do you think Paul and Barnabas are going to do about it? You think they're going to stop it, Mo? They should stop it? Okay. All right. Elijah? All right. So we got a lot of votes for stop it. I'm not even going to ask Noah. I'll just keep reading. All right. Let's keep moving. All right. They want to offer. Now, think about it for a little bit. Does this kind of thing happen today? Jacob? Yes. Okay. I'll give you a piece of candy just because I'm feeling nice. And I like to see Mr. Minor in Dodge. Okay, Maisie, does it happen today? In a way? What way? I'm going to make you work for it. Okay. We start focusing on the person rather than the God who enabled them. Sam? Celebrities. They do something amazing. And you know what? There are some, I think half of it is digital improvements at this point, but there are some celebrities with great voices. They can really actually sing. And they sing a beautiful song, and everybody says, "You are amazing." And what do they say? Yes, I am. Whew. Let me do that again. And in fact, pay me a whole lot of money and I'll do that again, is normally what they say. TV evangelists, very much so. Look what I can do. Look how impressive I am. There are churches. We were in a church. I don't know if we stayed for the whole service. I think we may have. It's the strangest thing I ever saw. We were in a church one Sunday. This was years ago. We were visiting some churches for a reason. Don't ask. Anyhow, we're sitting there. And the service is about to start. And they start with I don't know, it's an intro I've heard used for like sports teams coming in. Dun, 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 dun. And the spotlight comes on, and from the back of the auditorium comes the pastor just striding down the aisle, you know? And I'm like, whoa, we got a problem here, folks. This is not how it's supposed to go. That was the weirdest thing. I mean, I've seen some, well, I don't know if it's the weirdest thing I've seen. I should be careful using that term. I've seen some strange things. Anyhow, okay. People can get caught up in that. Even now, on a very, very, let's pull it down, okay? You guys are here, okay? Obviously, you guys are not thinking in the direction of the stuff we're talking about. You're not thinking that drastic. But it is so easy. We've done something. We've served God. We have done something for God's honor and glory, and somebody comes up to us and says, thank you so much. That was amazing what you did. You went out and you helped that family, and that was amazing. What does our response need to be? No, praise the Lord. That was not me. That's what God is doing. It's not about me. Silas? Pride. It all comes down to pride. Now, let's see how Paul and Barnabas handle this. Pick up in verse 14. Verse 14. But when the apostles, Barnabas and Paul, heard of it, they tore... They did not cough. They tore their garments, rushed out into the crowd, crying out, "Men, why are you doing these things? We also are men of like nature with you. We bring you good news that you should turn from these vain things to a living God who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and all that is in them. In past generations, he allowed all the nations to walk in their own ways, yet he did not leave himself without a witness. For he did good by giving you rains from heaven in the fruitful seasons, satisfying your hearts with food and gladness." Even with these words, they scarcely restrained the people from offering sacrifice to them. All right, let's see. Yes, what do Paul and Barnabas do then? How do they handle this? All right. Isaac? Okay, they do that. What do they tell them? Jacob? You almost had it, man. Did they tell them that they were men just like everybody else? You're right. Good job. I like your answer, buddy. That was a really good answer. All right. They say, no, guys, we are just men. We are people. We are not gods. And in fact, what is the good news that Paul and Barnabas bring to these people? This is a little bit of a tougher question. May end up having to pull adults in, but we'll see. Elijah? Okay, that is not an answer to the question. All right, now I will give a quick explanation. Next time you could reserve that for when we ask for questions at the end, but I also understand you can forget it. So, honestly, it was a sign in that culture. It was a sign of mourning and grief. It was how they said, "We are in distress." An example that is way out of your lifetime. But it did happen a lot. Every Star Trek TV show, anytime something went wrong, I don't understand, the uniform got pulled down, and they just, I don't know, it was a Star Trek thing. But, sorry, that doesn't, but the tearing of a garment it was part of their culture. When there was distress, when they needed to show they were upset about something, they would rip something on their garment, okay? It's just how they showed extreme. It was a visible sign that something is desperately wrong, okay? Now, I got to go back and figure out, I have no idea what my question was. My brain went off on Star Trek. I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, that's what I always think of, though, when I hear that, the tearing of the garment. I think Star Trek. Okay. All right, where was I? Oh, what is the good news that Paul and Barnabas brought to these people? Sam? Okay, the gospel, yes, but they approach it in an interesting way. They bring an interesting idea, an interesting statement to these folks. Heather? They tell them, you don't have to worship Zeus and Hermes. There is a living God. And this living God, he says, is the one who has brought the fruitful harvests and the rains and everything you need. You have been trying to worship Zeus and Hermes and these other gods and this whole pantheon of gods, but I tell you, there is one living God that you can worship. And he's alive and powerful, not like Zeus and Hermes, but they bring them the good news that there is a living God. Now, okay, again, some heavier questions on this section. What is the witness that they say all people have seen? What do they say has been the witness? Sam? Huh? Oh, that's not what they said. Maisie? Okay, that's a big chunk of it. Misa, can you sum it up? What? I'm not hearing very good, I'm sorry. Nature, God's creation. Very good. Very good. You weren't saying it wrong, I just wasn't hearing it very well. All right, nature, God's creation. We have seen creation. What does Psalm tell us? The heavens declare the glory of God. The firmament shows his handiwork. We are without excuse. We know when we see those things, something created them. Now, we have people who spend hours and years and days and time trying to convince themselves otherwise. Because if you have a creator, then you have somebody to answer to, and they don't like that. Now, did Paul's speech stop the people from worshiping them? Mimi? I know she said no. I'm hoping she says, I'm waiting for a different answer. Did it stop them from worshiping them? Yes. Wow. That is fantastic. All right. Yes, it did stop them. It says they barely stopped them. It wasn't easy. Huh? Okay. Even with these words, they scarcely restrained the people from offering sacrifice to them. When I read that they scarcely restrained them, they barely restrained them. By the skin of their teeth, they were able to restrain them from doing that. You read it different. Interesting. Okay. 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 All right. Without getting deep into what's going to be the next lesson, the later context says they actually did get them to stop worshiping them. And that's, to me, that's why I interpret that phrase the way I do, because the next section will find out that, yes, they really did stop worshiping them. Okay? So, I see what you're thinking. I understand the thought there. Context tells us they did get them to stop. All right. Now, which starts to hinge on, this is our cliffhanger. Do you think Paul and Barnabas will be able to settle in and really work for a while in Lystra? I mean, these people really are excited about them. They're excited about what they can do. So the question is, do you think they'll be able to stay and have a productive ministry? Silas? Yes. Silas goes with yes. Sam? Okay. So Sam, that one, blue and orange coat, thinks that, what, you think Iconium is going to send people to stir up problems? Okay. Okay. Zach, you think they're going to stay or get run out of town again? Yeah, nice try. Elijah? Okay. So we'll find out next week how that pans out. Now, you're also welcome to go ahead and read the rest of the chapter anytime you want. Don't get me wrong. It's all there in black and white. You can read it for yourself. But next week, we will follow out how that happens. Now, one of the things we want to walk away with tonight, okay? Paul and Barnabas keep going to these towns. And over and over and over again, they hit persecution. The Jews stir up problems. Somebody gets mad. They want to attack them. They want to beat them. They want to stone them. They want to get rid of them. They pack up. They slip out of town. They get to the next town. And they start with the same message. Folks, we have the most amazing, powerful message there is. But even Jesus said, I'm going to cause division. His message, the message of the gospel, the message telling people, I love you, but you're a sinner and you deserve hell, occasionally upsets some people. But we have to tell them, but Jesus loves you and there's a way out of your problem. The problem is people then don't believe it. And if they don't believe it, then the problems get worse. Folks, we can't stop just because one person says, I don't want to hear that. Go away. I'm going to shut the door on you. I'm going to push you away. I'm going to say ugly things about you. We can't even stop if they literally try and get us arrested, thrown into jail, beaten, persecuted, and shot. Paul said he just kept going again and again and again. Now, he may have left town. And I think there's a valid answer for that. If there is physical persecution and there isn't in the next town over, hey, go to the next town over. Okay? Move over if you need to. But keep moving and keep teaching the truth. All right? Now, never let it quit. Or never quit. And the second point, no matter what we've done, no matter what we think we have accomplished, we're not the important part. I have said from up there, I've said down here, folks, I am just a man, and somewhere along the line, I'm going to mess up, and I am probably going to irritate you. Now, if my message irritates you, that's something different. I'm talking about just my natural social ineptness. I'm going to say something or do something that irritates you. And if you get all bent out of shape and give up on church because I said something stupid, you had your focus in the wrong place. Now, yeah, I shouldn't have said it. Okay, I'll own up to that. I shouldn't have, but your focus is in the wrong place because you need to be following God, not following me, because I will fail. I'm going to do everything I can not to, but I'm going to. It's pretty well obvious, okay? I'm going to. We've got to keep pointing at God. Somebody sees you and says, man, Charlie, thank you so much. You did so much in putting all the lights up. And Charlie's going to say, you know what? God let me do that. And he's going to give God the glory for it. We've got to keep pointing at God every time. Memory verse sums it all up. Proverbs 16, verse 18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. I have one, and I wrapped up a little short, so I got a little funny story to go with this for me. Okay? I was in college. I had my little truck that I was really proud of, and I was really proud of it. I'd put a lot of work into it. Most people wouldn't be proud of it, but I was. And I had driven it to class one day. I had used a loophole to drive it to class. That's another whole story. But we came out of class, and I was going to be cool, and I came out of the parking lot, and it's a four-cylinder Ranger, but if you dump the clutch the right way, you can get at least one tire to make some noise as you're coming out the parking lot, okay? You got to work at it. If you know what you're doing, you can make it work, you know? So I come out of the parking lot, and I get down. There was a railroad tracks, 150, 200 yards down from the parking lot. And I get there, and it hits the railroad track, and the truck dies dead. just turns off. And here I am, I've coasted across the tracks, and the bus that the entire rest of the aircraft mechanics class is riding comes right past, waving at Jeff, sitting there on the side of the road with a dead pickup truck. Eventually, I figured out the problem and got it going again. But you know what, folks? Pride comes before a fall every time. And you know what? In situations like that, it's a little bit funny. You can laugh at it. But in situations where you are serving in ministry and you get a head full of pride, it's not funny when God has to humble you. So memory verse for this week: pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. Any quick questions about the lesson before we close? There's not a whole lot deeper to go. The cultural answer is they tore their clothes to show they were grieving. All right. Mr. Myron, would you close in prayer tonight?